Today I'm here to present H.R. 113, known as Piqui's resolution, to commemorate the life of Piqui and many children like him who have lost their lives at the hands of an unfit parent or those with rights to custody, and to draw attention to the importance of child safety, custody disputes, and mediation. On April of 2017, Piqui disappeared after a trip to Disneyland while under the care of his father, who had been awarded unsupervised visitations during a long, ongoing custodial dispute. Months after Piqui's disappearance and intense investigative work, detectives apprehended Piqui's father as the main subject, who later confessed to murdering his own child and disclosed the whereabouts of his remains. During the custodial dispute, the family court system repeatedly refused to give Ana sole custody, despite mounting evidence that Piqui was in danger. Ana fought for her son, but the documented danger was ignored and then dismissed. Mr. Chair, the reason that I asked for it to be pulled out off of consent is that I wanted Ana Estevez, Piqui's mother, to be able to speak to you. And I would like to introduce Ana, who is Piqui's mother.
Thank you. First witness, please.
Good morning, Chairman Stone and members of the committee. I would like to begin by expressing how honored I am to be speaking here on behalf of my son. I sit before you as a mother, as a veteran of the United States Army, as a former elementary school principal, but also as an advocate for children. An advocate for children who suffer at the hands of an abusive parent and children who fall victim to our court system. My purpose here today is to share my personal testimony to recognize the critical role that you as California leaders play in the lives of others, and to provide an opportunity for you to reflect on how the murder of an innocent child can influence the way you choose to serve your constituents in the future. Since 2008, at least 53 children have been murdered in California. 7 of those children were residents of Los Angeles County, where I reside. 3 children had their throats slit by their mother. The 4th child was tortured to death by his mother and her boyfriend. He was 8. The 5th child was murdered by vehicular manslaughter. He was 10 days old when his father intentionally ran him over. Child number 6 was recently murdered by his mother and stepfather. He was tortured to death by his parents. And the last child, my son, Aramaz Andresian II, lovingly known as Piqui, was murdered by his father, my ex-husband. In 2006, I thought I met the man of my dreams, and 1 year later we were married. My marriage lasted 8.5 years, and more than half of that time was spent on me trying to have a baby. And after many years of prayers and 5 miscarriages, God finally listened and blessed me with a child, my only child. When my son was 4, in April of 2016, I told my ex-husband that I wanted a divorce. And although he pretended to be distraught, he actually began plotting how he was going to hurt me and my son. In December of 2016, I filed for a restraining order against my ex-husband. The judge who presided over my divorce case was given irrefutable evidence documenting my ex-husband's horrific behavior. In addition to the evidence, I subpoenaed 3 law enforcement officers to testify on the documented lies and the physical abuse toward my son. The family court judge disregarded the evidence and ruled against allowing testimony from the 3 officers, stating they were there for custody reasons, not abuse. The restraining order was denied, and so was my request for sole custody with supervised visits. Despite repeated warnings in writing to the court, multiple requests for sole custody with supervised visits, a request for a restraining order, and my ex-husband filing false allegations with Child Protective Services, my pleas for my son's safety fell on deaf ears, and the volumes of evidence that I provided to the court were ignored. According to the homicide detectives, evidence seized during the criminal investigation showed that my ex-husband began planning my son's murder just weeks after my appearance in court for the restraining order. As of today, I have lived 490 days without my Piqui. On April 21st of 2017, My ex-husband suffocated my son in the back seat of his vehicle while my son was asleep, strapped into his car seat after a day-long trip to Disneyland. According to the homicide detectives, my son awoke during this violent act, and his first attempt at suffocating my son failed. And as my son sat helplessly in his car seat, his body twitching, my ex-husband proceeded to suffocate him a second time, and he used my son's sweater to do it. My son was 5 years, 2 months, and 2 days old. My ex-husband committed this crime because of me wanting a divorce and trying to protect my son. During his confession, he stated that he hated me and wanted to hurt me. And he did. He hurt me in the deepest and most inhumane way possible. Although it took me 40 years to bring my beautiful son into this world, it took his father approximately 4 minutes to end his life. My new reality is that I will never see my son again, at least not in this lifetime. And being a survivor of a violent crime comes with a life sentence. For me, that sentence is having to live my life without my son. So I am here today testifying on why child safety is of such importance. My son's death was preventable, and so were the 52 other children who were murdered in California by a parent. Training for court-related professionals is absolutely necessary and should not be an option. The judges and custody evaluator involved in my divorce clearly made uneducated decisions. And judges and evaluators are public servants whose role, according to the law, is to protect the health, safety, and welfare of children. In my case, as in many others, they failed to uphold family code. They failed my son, and unfortunately, they continue to fail many others. It is my hope that you recognize the importance of protecting children and establish a sense of urgency when it comes to truly making child safety a priority. Nothing I do will ever bring my Piqui back. And I personally have nothing to gain by being here today, as I have already lost what was dear to me. But I do sit here before you because I do not want another parent to experience the horror and heartbreak that I live each and every day. So what you choose to do here today could make a difference to thousands. You can choose to save innocent lives and protect children who suffer at the hand of an abusive parent, as my son did. You can choose to be the leaders that our children, your future constituents, need you to be. I thank you for your time, your compassion, and your leadership.
Thank you. We do have a quorum, so I want to establish the quorum. Call the roll, please.
Stone.
Here.
Cunningham. Chow. Here. Chu. Holden. Here. Kalra. Kiley. Here. Mainshine. Reyes.
Here. Thank you. Next witness, please.
Good morning, Chairman Stone and committee members. I'm Kathleen Russell, the Executive Director of the Center for Judicial Excellence, a California nonprofit that advocates for judicial accountability and child safety in family courts. I speak today in strong support of H.R. 113, which honors the life and spirit of Anna's 5-year-old son. Our organization collected data on Piqui and 52 other children who were murdered by a divorcing or separating parent here in the past decade. They all deserve to live long and prosperous lives, yet none of them will get that chance. Many of these homicides, including Piqui's, were preventable if family courts had prioritized child safety over other best interest factors when determining custody and visitation, and if court professionals were trauma informed. The 3 simple changes proposed in this resolution: a focus on child safety, access to justice through court reporters, and trauma-informed professionals with expertise in domestic violence and child abuse, will set California family courts on a critical path toward recovery and toward child protection. Once again, California is poised to lead the country on important policy reform. From the chair's crucial AB 2044 to the 28 California House members who've agreed to co-sponsor our similar child safety measure in Congress, which now has 70 co-sponsors from 20 states. Your aye vote on this resolution ensures California's leadership role in protecting children and family law at both the state and federal levels. We can do better. We must do better. And with your passage of H.R. 113, we will ensure that the senseless murders of Piqui, Alicia, Wyatt, Sarah, Sophie, Juliana, Julian, Madeline, and all of the other innocent California children who family courts did not protect were not in vain. No other parent should ever have to endure such pain. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak in support? If you could just give us your name and your affiliation, please.
California, Connie Valentine from California Protective Parents Association, in strong support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Catherine Campbell, representing all those children who survive and then have to live with their abuser till they age out. I support this. Thank you.
Joan Solari, San Mateo County resident, protective parent. The judge who found my
Sorry, I
ex-husband.
can't take any testimony, just that you support the bill.
Yes, I support the bill.
Resolution. Thank you. Anyone else in support of the resolution, H.R. 113? No. Seeing none, is there any opposition? All right, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the committee. Questions, comments? Mr. Chow, and then Ms. Reyes.
Thank you very much. I just want to start by thanking the author for bringing this resolution forward. I also want to thank the witness for being here to share her story. It must be very difficult to tell the story again, because you were in my office not long ago, and I want to thank you for sharing this very moving story. I also want to thank you for your leadership in bringing this issue forward to highlight to legislators what some of the issues are. So I want to thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Reyes.
Thank you to the author. Most especially thank you for bringing Piqui's story to us, because as difficult as it is, this is how we keep his memory going, to make sure that everybody knows that what happened to him should not have happened, but we keep repeating his name so that we remember him. So in honor of Piqui, I absolutely will move the bill.
Thank you. We do have a motion. Is there a second? And a second by Mr. Chow. Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? All right. Seeing none, Ms. Rubio, you may close.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Domestic violence and child abuse is something that transcends the economic divide, affecting both poor and rich communities, that has no cultural or age deterrent from its damaging effects. As a mother, a family member of a domestic violence survivor, it is crucial that we ensure that the safety of our children has a priority over any other issues. It's very difficult for me as a mother to sit here and to listen to Anna, but I would also like to recognize your work, Mr. Chair, with AB 2044 for the commitment by the Judicial Council to utilize $10 million of appropriated funding to increase court reporters in domestic violence and child custodies. I want Piqui's memory to be a reminder to all of us that what happened to him should not happen to anybody. And for me, I also feel that cases like Piqui are not recognized as domestic violence incidents. They are completely removed from those statistics, and I think that we need to do a better job to ensure that the communities know that the child abuse that is being conducted in these abusive homes is also domestic violence. So I thank you for your support and appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. Thank you to the committee members for their commitment to make sure that Piqui's memory continues. Thank you. And
Thank
with
you.
that, I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. The motion is that the resolution be adopted. Call the roll, please.
Stone?
Aye.
Stone, aye. Cunningham? Chow? Chow, aye. Chu? Chu, aye. Holden? Kalra? Kylie? Kylie, aye. Mainshine? Reyes? Reyes, aye.
It needs one more, so we'll put that on call.
Thank you.